You've had a diverse career before you came to us, so give people a little idea about your background because it's pretty impressive.
Well, I wouldn't characterize it as such, but thank you for that. I did graduate college with a political science degree. My father and grandfather had been in politics, so it seemed a natural pursuit for me. By the mid-'90s, I was lucky enough to land with a small boutique lobbying shop in Washington. That allowed me to build a relationship with Congressman Bud Schuster out of Pennsylvania. He offered me a job in '97. I did work for him for 4 years. He was the powerful chairman of the Infrastructure Committee, and it was a great experience. Really, another undergraduate degree sort of on Capitol Hill sort of flowed in those 4 years. From that, I joined Congresswoman Davis's office, opened her office on day one with her, and became her legislative director and eventually deputy chief of staff. So it was a great 7 years. It seems like a distant memory at this point, but that was my experience until 2003 when Steve Crosby, the county administrator of Stafford County, hired me into Stafford County.
And what sort of lies ahead for the county? What do you envision as we're sort of going into farther into the 21st century?
Well, we just achieved our AAA status. I think Stafford County, the sky is the limit from about what we can achieve over time. I think the collective effort of both management and the board of directors seems to be bigger and better over time. We are very focused on building, again, a quality of life that's enviable, and that starts with good schools, great public safety, parks and rec opportunities, as well as job creation and investment from the private sector. I think all of those pieces are in a better place than they've ever been in Stafford County, and with the help of the Planning Commission and other elected and appointed officials, if we can just work together, we can build the enviable community that I know that is within our reach.
And you sort of said the sky's the limit. How does the airport fit into the economic development of the area? And I also tie that to the hospital and sort of trying to expand medical research facilities or opportunities.
Healthcare is definitely a targeted attraction effort by the county as well as a result of the hospital. They didn't land there at that location by accident. We worked very hard to attract them, not only to the county, but to that very location for obvious reasons. We think the courthouse redevelopment area has significant long-term potential to build the center of our community, the sense of place that we've always longed for. Historically, folks in the north have migrated to the north for healthcare, for work, for shopping. Same in the south. They migrated to the south, out of the county for services. We believe building an exciting courthouse area can reverse that over time. The hospital is a big contributor to that. The airport, I think, is one of the many pieces of infrastructure that is important. It provides bragging rights, but more importantly, it provides infrastructure that's important to the long-term ability of us to sell to corporate decision makers. Water and sewer, broadband, obviously, airports are important to, again, selling to corporate decision makers that we are a progressive community that can meet their needs moving into the future.
And as we sort of move into the future, is there anything that you think that we should be, that's on the horizon that we really should be looking at that we haven't thought of, or any pitfalls that sort of we need to be sort of aware of that maybe we aren't really on the page yet?
Well, obviously, we're still a quick-growing community as far as population. I think we need to continue to work to plan for the future. We're doing that, I think, fairly well, but there's, again, no finish line when it comes to planning for the future. If you plan properly, growth is going to come regardless. So if you plan properly, that growth can happen in a way that we can absorb without significant pain. Again, that's across the board, from the schools to the parks, and to the infrastructure that supports water and sewer. We just simply need to continually plan, and I appreciate the Planning Commission and the board's continued focus on those efforts. I think, obviously, collaboratively, we can make it through what is going to be an explosive growth moving forward. Some suggest we're going to double our population by 2040. I believe that's probably accurate. So again, we just simply need to plan infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, schools to support all that.
And sort of, and being on the Planning Commission, we always get this issue of what do you need to have rooftops in before you can do retail, or do you need to how do you plan for that? As far as a lot of the people watching are from other states where they will have a mentality of, well, they build the roads first and then. And Virginia has a different attitude and different laws, being a Dillon state. Did you want to sort of touch on that, those sort of challenges to trying to do development?
Sounds like you're giving me an option, Tom, to respond to that. So I'll maybe take a pass. Let the Planning Commission and Board decide policy as it relates to residential growth and rezonings. I think this board and previous boards have done a fair job, a very good job, as a matter of fact, on keeping residential growth at a manageable pace. And I would just leave it at that.
And then I guess what I was trying to get to was, since the state really doesn't allow the mentality of where we can dictate, building a road or a road system or something first, that offers a challenge to doing the economic development when you talk to some states that do have policies that allow that. That's what I was sort of getting at, is how do you sort of deal with that challenge?
Fair enough. I don't know that I have a great answer to that, but I do believe, I've always believed that if we were a little more proactive, progressive, we could work with developers to ensure that our transportation plan, which is on paper, lives in a time frame that meets our needs. Obviously, that takes some back and forth, some give and take. Developers will demand something for that new infrastructure, of course. But I think with proactive conversations, the county could do potentially a better job in proactively building, for example, a northwest connector west of 95. Connections between 610 and 17 are going to be imperative long term, again, west of 95, if we're going to survive in this very competitive world. So those kinds of conversations, I believe, should be happening now and with developers. And sometimes folks cringe at the thought of that, but I think with creating win-win scenarios, we can create the infrastructure that this county desires and demands with the population growth moving forward.
Excellent. And then I guess as we're still looking at economic development, there's a lot that is being pushed for to try to do regional efforts in different areas. Do we do that as far as economic development as well? Or I know we have FAMPO and other things, and I didn't know if there was a cohesive effort on economic issues as well.
Well, I would say we as a region have done that fairly well. With Fredericksburg Regional Alliance's leadership, they do pull us together, us meaning the 5 localities, on a monthly basis to have good dialogue about prospect activity, about regional projects that might make sense. The commuter labor study, for example, that is now being initiated by the new UMW Center, is a product of those conversations. So the regional entity, FRA, has done a good job historically pulling us together. As far as regional collaboration on prospect pursuits, I would say we need to do more of that. We've done some of it, but we need to do more of that. I think there's strength. In fact, I know there's strength in numbers. If I'm just talking to, in Tokyo, to prospects looking for opportunities in the Mid-Atlantic, if I'm talking from the basis of Stafford County, that may resonate. But I'll tell you, it's a bigger bang for the buck if I'm talking about it from a regional perspective or even a statewide perspective. So relationships in the region are very important, and with the state, I would say, as well.
Well, and the development of our economic situation is that we have come to the end of our program. And so we thank Tim Baruti for being here and his work in trying to expand the economic development for Stafford County. And you should expand yourself by coming back to us to see us on our next episode of Rappahannock History.